with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
Alright, they are back in the UK from the O2 Arena, live from London, England. Very, very interesting. They are part of the UK tour right now, and the UK shows are always very, very interesting. There's always something new going on.
Cheers to all the mates in England, UK, if you guys are watching us.
Yes, let us know if you're from the UK and if you were there. Comment below. Leave us a comment. Alright, let's get started with MITB. Special guest star none other than Roman Reigns. Yes, wildcard rules are still in effect, and Roman has now become, I believe, the only superstar to show up twice, back to back, as part of the wildcard rule.
And I see why the Miz picked Roman Reigns to be a special guest in the show. It's because of the feud they both had with Shane McMahon recently, so we kind of figured they were going to talk about it.
And that is exactly what they did, but before he brings out Roman Reigns, the Miz starts talking about Sunday being Money in the Bank, and how one man and one woman will become Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. And that's very, very interesting because there's only been 2 Money in the Bank winners, Alexa Bliss and Carmella for the women, and there's been countless and countless and countless amounts of men winners. We know last year was Braun Strowman, if I'm not mistaken.
For the men, yes, and Alexa Bliss for the women.
Yeah, very interesting duo. Let's see who takes it home this year. We will get the predictions out to you guys this week.
And it's funny because they were both partners in the Mixed Match Challenge, and they both were winners last year, so that probably gives you a clue of who might win this year. Who knows? It might be another Mixed Match Challenge partner.
Alright, now Roman Reigns comes out on Raw. This is his second time, as I said earlier in the beginning. And he said, yes, I am here because of the wild card rules. And he has a match against Elias on Sunday for Money in the Bank. And Miz asks him, what can we expect? And he is very confident, very cocky that he is going to be able to take down Elias this Sunday.
Yeah, because he's got unfinished business with them and he's got a bone to pick. Roman Reigns didn't like when Elias attacked him, and he's trying to prove a statement to Elias that he is the SmackDown's biggest acquisition.
And he took a shot at him. He's like, what has Elias done ever since he came to the WWE? He hasn't won any championships. Who has he beaten? So he did kind of prove a point. Elias hasn't won any championships, but if you really think about it, he's probably the most over superstar right now aside from Becky Lynch, because we already know Becky is the most popular one. But he's probably next in line.
Yeah, and then you gotta figure that Elias has only been in the main roster for maybe about a year and a half of anything. But he really hasn't had the opportunity like other superstars. So, I mean, Roman Reigns does have a point.
Miz then goes on to promote Hobbs and Shaw, which is the Fast and the Furious spin-off. And he's like, now you're a Hollywood star. Maybe we should go on to make a comedic movie. And that's where Roman is like, we're not going to do that. That sounds like the old Miz. I came here for the new Miz. And that sparks something in the Miz. And he's like, you want to see the new Miz? And he's like, it took me 13 years to earn the respect of the superstars and the WWE Universe. And he also goes on to say that he may not be the toughest guy, but he will bring the fight to Shane McMahon on Sunday.
Yeah, and that's what Roman Reigns wants to see out of Miz. Brings the best out of him. And like I said, they have this thing in common that they're both feuding with Shane McMahon.
And Shane decides to interrupt. He comes out and he's like, I am flattered that you're both talking about me. But given the fact that he is the boss, he pretty much canceled MITB. Why would you cancel MITB? I enjoy MITB. But hey, Shane has a problem. He's going to have to settle it in the ring on Sunday against The Miz. He's going to have to take him down. Alright. Let's get started with the very first match of the night, which was Bobby Lashley and Elias versus Roman Reigns and The Miz. Roman and Miz, very odd pair. We don't see it very often. I don't even think we've seen it at all, to be completely honest with you. But I like the way they work together.
Yeah, they did because, like I said before, they have one thing in common. They're trying to get revenge over these past attacks that have been happening to them.
Exactly. And Bobby Lashley and Elias, when it's a group this good, when it's put together by somebody like Shane, who is basically a mastermind, it's gonna work. and we definitely saw that working. They were having frequent tags between each other. This was perfect because you had the powerhouse, and then you had somebody like Elias who can take care of everything else.
Yeah, and not only that, but Elias is smart. He is putting himself with people that are going to take him places. And what I mean by that is like Shane McMahon, the McMahon family. So now he's trying to do whatever it takes at what cost to get a title opportunity, and that's very smart by him.
That is definitely very smart. And they dominated the majority of this match. They were able to keep Roman Reigns away. And they isolated The Miz, not giving him any opportunities, and that's brilliant because you know why? The Miz is a target to Shane McMahon this Sunday going into Money in the Bank. And what did they do? They were focusing on taking out The Miz. That gives Shane an advantage going in on Sunday.
And not only that, but Shane was ringside. And we know that The Miz is not focused 100%. He's only focused on Shane McMahon. So, I mean, during this match, you could tell he was thrown off his game.
Yeah, definitely. And Shane going after Roman, causing a disqualification. And again, as I made it clear earlier, he went after Miz. His goal is to make sure Miz isn't 100% because he now sees how big of a threat The Miz is. And I feel like before WrestleMania, he didn't realize how big of a threat Miz actually was until he actually faced him at the MetLife Stadium, and then that's when he was like, oh my god, I'm actually in for a fight. And now he knows what to expect.
He underestimated him pretty much.
Exactly, and that's, I guess, the worst you can do, because if you underestimate, for example, Elias is somebody who is always underestimated, but look at him now. He's going to be a future champ very, very soon, especially because you said he's hanging out with somebody like Shane McMahon.
Yeah, so definitely give this man a raise, Elias. He knows what he's doing, and not only that, but he was there when the boss got Superman punched by Roman Reigns.
Hey, if you're willing to save your boss, you deserve a raise. 100%.
Just throwing it out there.
And The Miz and Roman, I mean, there's not much to say on them. I don't want to say we didn't get to see much of them during this match because we did, but they were dominated the majority of the match. Miz, major improvement. There's a whole new side to Miz now. A new passion. He's very, very determined, and I do want to see him defeat Shane at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, me too. I think he's going to get a victory over Shane.
And Roman Reigns, ever since coming back, I feel like this is a new Roman. This is something we didn't expect from Roman Reigns. I feel like he has improved a lot, and that's all I got to say on Roman. What do you want to add?
Not only that, but he doesn't have his Shield brothers right now, so he's pretty much trying to look for alliances. And what a great way to ally himself with The Miz right now that, like I said, they have one thing in common.
Yeah, he can align himself with The Miz, but I feel like this is his chance to prove himself as a singles competitor because he always had Seth, he always had Dean watching over him, and now it's like you're literally on your own. You have nobody else. But he can potentially have the Usos, but they were taken away from him either. So it's kind of like he is on his own. So maybe he is trying to find an alliance. I don't know. But as of right now, I feel like he's trying to prove himself as a singles competitor.
And not only that, but he's also trying to bring the best of you. And we saw that against The Miz today by saying that he wanted the new Miz, not the old Miz.
Yes, exactly.
So obviously Roman is a changed superstar ever since he came back.
100%. And Mojo Rawley versus Apollo Crews. Mojo Rawley, the new Mojo Rawley, I guess. He's finally making his debut as the new Mojo Rawley. This match was very, very short, but I also feel like Mojo took advantage of that little injury that Apollo had during this match.
Yeah, as soon as Apollo got injured, he just hopped on that knee and targeted the entire match. The entire match was just short.
Yeah, exactly. It was less than 5 minutes long, and he took advantage of that, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does next. I am interested in Mojo Rawley. I mean, they've been teasing this new Mojo for months now, even before WrestleMania, I think, and we never got to see him up until now. Yes, they put him up against Apollo, but it's like this is now going to be showing you where he's going from here.
Hey, and what better way to build your character again than with the victory?
100%. And Apollo, if he did get injured, speedy recovery to you, my friend. You're an incredible athlete, and we can't wait to see more of you. All right, Becky 2 belts. Becky Lynch Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair contract signing for Money in the Bank.
This was very interesting because I wanted to see what they all had to say to each other. And I mean, they pretty much didn't held anything back.
Oh, they definitely didn't. I don't want to get into everything, but to make it short for you guys, Charlotte pretty much tells her, you have everything you want. Yet again, you put yourself in a situation where you could lose everything in a snap of a finger.
She does. Charlotte does have a point on that. You guys got to keep in mind, she is defending her Raw Women's title and her SmackDown title that same night. And not only that, but keep in mind that the winner of the Women's Money in the Bank could potentially cash in that night. We're not saying they're going to cash in, but you got to keep in mind, last year we saw a cash in. So, I mean,
Yes.
she could potentially walk out with no titles.
Exactly. She could lose both. She could lose one, or she could potentially retain both the championships. And we'll get into our Money in the Bank predictions on the next 2 episodes, which you'll get to see. But Lacey Evans, she started mocking Becky Lynch's outfit. Now, she's a lady. She keeps it classy. She's like, hey, at least somebody, pointing at Charlotte Flair, is like, knows how to dress for a contract signing. She's like, it's a contract signing, honey. She tells that to Becky Lynch, and I thought it was the funniest thing because it's like, Becky she's the champ. She showed up chilling. She was like, well, I'm gonna just wear my sneakers and some pants, and that's it. I'm the champ. I get to wear whatever I want.
She's like, y'all nasties.
Exactly. And Becky, she's a lot more confident. She knows what the stakes are, and she tells Charlotte, you have not been able to beat me. And Lacey Evans has everything to lose, because if she loses, that's it. Like, are you really going to take her seriously when she loses to somebody like Becky Lynch? She can't lose her first match.
It does, definitely. It's just the head games that Becky's trying to play with Charlotte, and the other way around with Lacey Evans, pretty much telling her, who have you beaten? You haven't done anything in the WWE since you've been here. And like I said, Becky Lynch does have a point.
And a fight breaks out, and we end up seeing an alliance that I love, and I know he loves too. Charlotte and Lacey Evans pretty much teamed up to take out Becky Lynch.
When I saw that, I was like, you have pretty much the 2 queens of the business right now, the most talented woman in the roster. I was like, these are going to be the future women tag team champions, no doubt about it. Mark my words.
Exactly. Within the next months, a few months or a couple of years, you'll see them together. And Armando has said this, and he was the first person to say it. He said it at the Rumble. Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans have a lot of similarities going through. Go back and listen to our first podcast of 2019. He said it, and I 100% agree with him. This is going to be the best duel ever.
And not only that, but Becky also mentions it too. She's like, oh, Charlotte, you're sitting next to your twin sister.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of similarities that they have both in ring and outside the ring, but they know how to work the crowd.
Now, in the match at Money in the Bank, it's going to be interesting to see what Lacey Evans comes up with. What similarities is she going to have versus the Charlotte Flair match that we're going to see. And don't expect it to be very, very different. Yeah, there'll be differences because they're 2 different competitors. But it's going to be near the same. And I'm interested to see where Lacey Evans is going to go. She quickly became one of my favorites. After WrestleMania, she became one of my favorites. And I was like, this is going to be one of the greatest stars.
I saw her for a couple minutes at the Rumble, like I said, and I was like, oh my gosh, she is the next Charlotte Flair. She is going to be the next top woman star, and hopefully she ends up beating Becky Lynch. We'll get into our predictions later, like we said, but that's just the superstar you got to keep an eye on.
The point of this, we want to see Lacey and Charlotte teaming up as tag teams. Who's going to beat them? If you really think about it, who's going to dethrone these 2 if they do become tag champs at some point?
And on top of that, they pretty much powerbombed Becky Lynch through a table, both of them.
Exactly.
Kinda, quote unquote, marking the shield.
Exactly. So, very, very interesting contract signing. Probably one of the best I've seen in a while. But now, let's move on to Baron Corbin versus Ricochet. This was a match I was going to be like, this is really good. But it exceeded my expectations. And I feel like the reason why it did was Baron Corbin. That man is genius. I can never praise him enough.
As much as you guys hate the guy, He's just a genius in the ring. He knows what he's doing. He has analyzed all his opponents that he faces, and not only that, but he's always the ultimate opportunist. He knows how to capitalize on the opportunities he gets and is able to be victorious. That's why he has been so successful in Raw, and I feel that him coming from SmackDown to Raw really helped him develop his style. He's just so much matured.
He is probably the only superstar in the entire roster that benefited from a brand switch. Because he was in SmackDown, we saw him lose his poor Money in the Bank. I mean, the way they had him cash it in was just no. And I was like, okay, well, this is the end of Baron Corbin because he had an unsuccessful cash in. And then he moves to Raw, and all these amazing things start happening to him. And he is one of my favorite competitors right now. Yes, I may not like his character, but inside of the ring, that man is brilliant.
And I feel that Kurt Angle had a lot to do with them too, because I feel once Kurt Angle got on board with the Raw roster, he was like, okay, I like Baron Corbin, and I think he had to do a lot with where Baron Corbin is at right now.
And I'm very impressed. He dominated the majority of this match. When you look at the both opponents, you're like, okay, Ricochet has this. He's gonna dominate the majority of this match. Wrong. He was dominated by Baron Corbin, and that's something I didn't expect, but as I said, every single week, Baron Corbin exceeds my expectations, and honestly, this was probably my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, and he was able to be victorious, and what a great way to build momentum for Money in the Bank. And another thing too, Baron Corbin has won the Money in the Bank, so he has all the motivation in the world to win it.
And he is extremely, extremely smart, and we'll get into that
Later.
on the main event. Yes, we'll get into that later, and we'll explain why. And Ricochet, singles competitor, but I feel like he was doing a lot better with Aleister Black. I feel like he was getting a bigger push. Now that he is by himself, it's not that he's not good. He's fantastic, don't get me wrong. I just feel like that charisma, that push that I saw with Aleister is no longer there. I was more interested in him when he was with Aleister than as a singles competitor, if that makes sense. Okay, moving on to Naomi versus Natalya versus Dana Brooke versus Nikki Cross. Okay, so originally this match was supposed to be all four women representing the Raw brand at the Money in the Bank match. But since Alexa is brilliant, and I'm telling you, she is gold, she's brilliant, she said she forgot her luggage. And therefore she was going to be unable to compete because she was going to be at a disadvantage because she didn't have her luggage. So, what does she do? She brainwashes Nikki Cross, and she's like, you know what? I think you are the nicest person. I think you deserve opportunity. And Nikki's like, well, why don't you just tell them to replace you? Why don't you go talk to the McMahons and ask to be replaced? I'm pretty sure they will understand. And Alexa's like, really? You would do that for me? And so then, Nikki Cross ended up taking her spot.
And Nikki Cross ended up doing a great job. I think Alexa has found a new friend in Nikki Cross. Yeah. And I mean, she was impressive.
Well, if you think about it, she doesn't have Alicia because Alicia hasn't been on TV for weeks. Mickie James got moved over to SmackDown Live, so all her friends are pretty much gone. Nia Jax is injured, so she has to find somebody new to have her back, and I feel like she just found that person, Nikki Cross. And Nikki did a fantastic job representing her during this match. I feel like she was the breakout star of this entire match.
And I think Dana Brooke, I mean, she's willing to do whatever it takes to win the Money in the Bank contract. And we saw it in this match. I mean, she took a high risk by going up the ladder and pretty much doing a dive from the top of the ladder.
Yeah, so that alone goes to show she wants this super badly, and don't be surprised if the ultimate underdog ends up winning this match. I would not be surprised if Dana wins. That is not my prediction, but don't be surprised if she does. I feel like she's improved tremendously. Again, another one of those superstars that we saw at the Rumble and we were like, I didn't know you were capable of this much. So she is a threat, definitely. Naomi and Natalya
are the veterans.
They are the veterans. They have a lot of experience. They've been in countless amount of matches before. I don't know. It's gonna be a very interesting match at Money in the Bank.
But I feel that the Money in the Bank match favors Naomi more because of her style of wrestling and how athletic she is.
Definitely, 100% agree with you on that one. And Natty, she's experienced. She's a veteran. She knows every single match. pretty much at the top of her head. So she's very, very dangerous as well. Keep that in mind. And before we do move on to the very next match, I do want to say Nikki Cross helped Alexa bring down the Money in the Bank briefcase. So she pretty much set up the ladder for her, and Alexa goes in, climbs it, and she brings it down. A potential spoiler maybe for Money in the Bank?
So don't be surprised if Nikki Cross is at ringside or somehow gets involved in the match to help Alexa Bliss win. But again, we'll get into that later in our prediction podcast.
Exactly. Alright. Cesaro versus Rey Mysterio, one of the best matches of the night if you ask me.
All around, Cesaro is one of my favorites, with like Elias and other superstars that you guys know. But just Mysterio just keeps impressing me week after week after week. It's just his in-ring skills and creativity that he shows is just amazing. That's why he has traveled the world and faced the best in the world in the independent scene in Japan, you name it. It's just new moves that he comes out every single time.
Piggybacking on that a little bit, as he said, he's wrestled all over the world. He has gained so much experience, but seeing him go from the WWE to the Indies back to the WWE, I feel like he is now at his prime. He is the best Rey Mysterio you have ever seen. And yes, he was already a wrestler before, but I feel like now it's the best Mysterio, and this is the peak that Rey Mysterio is gonna get.
Yeah, because he is in the best shape of his life. I'm sorry.
Yes, 100% agree with you on that one, and he always has something new to bring. His style is just so unique to me. He finds new ways to make certain moves, like pinfalls. He has come up with so many creative ways to just simply pin an opponent. How many people do you see doing that on a weekly basis?
And he adapts to the wrestling style he's wrestling, and a lot of it has to do, like I said, because he had wrestled all around the independent scene and all around the world. So he's just, his experience shows throughout the ring, and if I were in the ring, that's one of the persons I would like to be in the ring with, so I could learn from him.
Speaking of adapting, he also adapts to his opponents very, very well. Depending on who you put him up against, he adapts quickly. He immediately knows how to shift his wrestling style. Whether it's Cesaro, whether it's Joe, whether it's a powerhouse, it doesn't matter. He will adjust to whatever wrestler he's facing.
And not only that, but Mysterio has extra motivation. He's got Dominic by his side, which is he's wrestling for and trying to teach him the ropes. And two, he is trying to win that U.S. title. And not only that, but he has been on a winning streak lately.
He has. And and Cesaro. Moving on to Cesaro now. I'm glad he's back on singles competition over the last 2 years?
I think 2 years. We saw him partner with Sheamus and The Bar, which they did great. But I really like him more as a singles competitor. I feel that he has way more to offer.
Yes, Cesaro, absolutely incredible as a singles competitor. Now is his time to shine. Coming out of a tag pretty much with Sheamus, now is his opportunity to shine. Now is his opportunity to finally get those championships that he deserves. I don't think, and I don't recall him ever being U.S. champion, him ever being Intercontinental champion, and he's certainly never been WWE champ. So now that he's on the Raw brand, this is his chance to get up to the Universal Championship picture.
And he has adapted good to the singles competition again, because as you know, when you're a tag team partner for a while, you're so used to having somebody in your corner. But he has adapted to singles competition very well.
He definitely has, and it's going to be great to see what Raw has in store for somebody like Cesaro. So very, very interesting. Alright, let's move on to our main event, which was Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn. Now, keep in mind, the winner of this match was going to move on to Money in the Bank. So if Zayn beats Braun, he replaces Braun. If Braun beats Sami Zayn, he stays in the match.
And keep in mind, this was a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Yes. So that means anything goes. No disqualifications, no countouts. You can do whatever you want. And at first, this match starts off pretty slow. Well, in my opinion, I thought it did. Sami Zayn, that man just improved so much and has gotten absolutely incredible ever since coming back. I believe, this is his second match third,
Well,
maybe.
It was like the third match.
Yeah, his third match ever since coming back. We do know he was gone for about 9 months. But you also have to give it to Braun Strowman. He dominated the majority of this match. He was just manhandling Sami Zayn.
Let's be realistic. Sami Zayn was pretty much trying to avoid getting pinned, or pretty much staying away from Braun Strowman is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, he kept running, which is smart. But at the end of the day, that ended up benefiting him because, as we mentioned earlier, a very, very smart competitor was like, I don't want Braun Strowman in this match. So what does he do? You get to see Baron Corbin come out and help Sami Zayn take down Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and at that point I was like, brilliant.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin is doing what's best for his own interest, and that's eliminating the biggest threat in the Money in the Bank, which will be Braun Strowman. I'm sure we could all agree.
Yes, and not only that, but Drew McIntyre, again, another smart competitor, comes out and helps Sami Zayn take out Braun Strowman. They took out pretty much the biggest threat. And I feel like the second biggest threat is Randy Orton in that match. But you can already go into Money in the Bank expecting pretty much a fair game, because if Braun was in this match, you already knew he was pretty much going to take everybody out. And being able to take him out of that in that match was going to be absolutely hard, because you can hit him with stuff and he'll still get up.
Yeah.
So at this point, Baron Corbin looking out for his best interest.
And we gained another tremendous superstar, which was Sami Zayn, which I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the Money in the Bank. I think Sami Zayn is also one of the dangerous superstars because he always has something up his sleeve, especially right now.
Yeah. This men's match is going to be crazy. You have Sami Zayn, you have Finn Balor, you have Andrade, you have Randy Orton, you have McIntyre. Mysterio, I believe, is also part of... Oh, no, he's facing...
Baron Corbin.
Yeah, Baron Corbin is another one. And you have so many competitors now. I expect this to be potentially the last match. Well, second to last match, because Seth and AJ is more than likely going to main event. But Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin doing what's best for them. They took out the biggest threat in this entire match, Braun Strowman. He is no longer part of the Money in the Bank match, which already gives you a spoiler because now you know he's not winning it. And Braun Strowman,
just keeps getting screwed over.
Yeah, he does. He's going to be so mad come Sunday. Don't be surprised if he comes out in that match and screws over Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre, and quite frankly, screws over everybody. He's going to make sure those two men don't walk out of Money in the Bank with that briefcase.
Exactly.
And hey, let us know what your predictions for Money in the Bank are below. That's all we have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings, unless there's something else you would like to add.
That's all we have. Stay tuned for our predictions episode.
We'll get into everything. You do not want to miss that. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let everybody know to become a sibling today. Join the fan base. Become part of the family. And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, what does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
We'll see you guys on a new episode of Wrestling with Siblings.